We've got a very great guest with us today, Robbie Heeger with Endowment, one of our new partners here within Silver Oak. And yeah, I think the best way to start is kind of let Robbie kind of tell you a little bit about the story of kind of what led to Endowment and what Endowment is, because I think it's a really cool service. I'm really proud. I think a lot of us got in this business. Hopefully, all of us got in this business to help people. And Endowment lines up with that mission perfectly. So
Well,
Robbie, yeah, tell us how you got to Endowment.
sure thing. First off, thanks for having me. It's an
Of
honor to
course.
be the guinea pig, and um, I'm looking forward to setting the bar for all future guests, unachievable high. So challenge on. Um, Endowment. Endowment, aside from being a brand new Silver Oak partner institution, is a donor advised fund sponsor. And we specialize in helping people take complex assets from their portfolio, and even more traditional and simple assets as well, but predominantly complex assets, and turn them into charitable gifts, into tax deductible donations to nonprofits and causes that they care about. So we provide what are called DAFs, or donor advised funds. These are like charitable checking accounts. It's kind of another way to think about it is like your own private family foundation for you and your spouse, or you and your kids, or for just your kids, or for just you. But you can open up a donor advised fund in 2 clicks on Endowment. And basically, what you're left with is an account that you can deposit anything of value under the sun almost into, and we turn it into cash, and then you get to decide by making grant recommendations on which nonprofits it gets distributed out to. And it basically allows you to separate the financial planning decision of how much to give in a given calendar year from the allocation decision of, like what causes do I care about and how much should I give to each individual cause each year. Um, I am sort of patient zero for Endowment. It, it it's one of those situations where we were, you know, where not we, but I was in a situation where I had gains on digital assets, on crypto assets in 2019, 2020, something like that. And um, nobody would take my digital assets as a donation. And so my only choice for getting a tax deduction on those assets was to sell them first, incur the gain, and then go and make the tax deductible gift. And the part of one of the big reasons why DAFs are so popular is because you can give what you want to give as is, rather than having to sell it first, and avoid the capital gain altogether from selling before you give. And so a light bulb went off in my head effectively. That was like, we got to have this for all of the different new kinds of asset classes that are becoming increasingly popular. The data is very clear about this. As you move down each generation down the line, the number of alternative or complex assets in the portfolio as a percentage of portfolio assets increases dramatically. And so for financial advisors who are used to working with clients who only have stuff in a brokerage account, those days are numbered. And that means that all of the things that happen around brokerages that have become sort of loss leaders, or service providers slapped on top of a brokerage or a clearinghouse, are now needing to evolve. And that's really what Endowment is meant to do. It's meant to be a asset class agnostic, custodian agnostic, and really vehicle agnostic tax mitigation interface. And we focus primarily on donor advised funds at this point. But, if you stick with us for the long haul and as we continue to grow, we see this as an opportunity to go into charitable remainder trusts and charitable lead trusts, charitable gift annuities, 529s, IRAs, SEP IRAs, 401ks, right? There are all these different vehicles that are tax advantaged that don't support the new asset classes right now. And so we're really focused on building technology that breaks down that barrier.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And And I know, like when I think of DAFs, I think of like high net worth, ultra high net worth. Um, so a little bit more about who can benefit from a DAF.
Yeah, if you spend enough time on the New York Times website, you can learn all of the nasty hidden truths about DAFs, and there's certainly enough negative press out there for a much larger industry about DAFs and the way that they're used. But I think it's kind of unfair to the vehicle. Like
Mm.
it's not the vehicle's fault that people who are ultra wealthy are using it to sort of sequester wealth, but for millions of Americans, it is a way to have a charitable home for all of your giving instead of chasing around individual nonprofits and asking them, do you take my stock? Will you take my car? Right? Will you take my baseball card collection? Right? I want to give you this, but I don't know where to sell it. And really, donor advised funds exist to help people get the most advantageous tax break by giving their appreciated long-term property or stock and turn that into a balance that they can then go and spend at any nonprofit they want to, as long as they're in good standing with the IRS. And so for me, I think like that requires a relearning. Like DAFs are for everyone. Like in the same way you can call and get a taxi and a taxi will show up, but it's cooler if you use your phone and order a black car and an Uber shows up and it's the guy in the suit with the black SUV and you feel special. Like that's what a DAF is to an everyday donation. And so if you're itemizing your deductions, for me the floor where it's like inexcusable to not have a DAF is if you're itemizing your deductions. So if you're itemizing your deductions, you should have a DAF, because that means you should be making a gift every year that adds to your itemized deductions. And you should be doing that and then figuring out later down the line where you want to give the assets to from, cause by cause basis. But even less than that, even if you're taking the standard deduction and you do any amount of charitable giving to more than one organization, or you have assets in your portfolio that aren't cash, and you want to give some of those assets, like you should have a DAF. It's there DAFs today, endowment included. Of course, I'm biased, but there are more than just us that have zero minimums that are really easy to use that just take a couple minutes to get set up. Now, of course, I am biased, and endowment is the
Mm.
easiest and the cheapest and the best. But it depends on how you look at the equation. And yeah, to me, I think like for everybody who thinks that a DAF is just for the ultra wealthy, it's like, that used to be true of private drivers as well. And we've seemed to have gotten over that. And so like, let's do the same thing with DAFs.